All right, boys and girls, in this math review video, I'm going to show you how to do long division. All right, as you can see on the screen here, we've got 4 different problems that we're going to work through. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to look up here in the corner, and you can see that I have written down the 5 steps for long division. And again, what you want to remember is it does not matter how big the problem is or what the numbers are. The steps to long division always stay the same. So let's take a look at this first question here. 783 divided by 3. 783 divided by 3. So the first step is we're going to divide. We're going to take a look at this 3 and ask ourselves, how many times can we divide 3 into 7? And if we're good at our multiplication facts, hopefully we'll be able to do this in our head. And if not, you say, okay, will it go in one time? 3 times 1 is 3. That fits into 7. 3 times 2 is 6. That fits in. 3 times 3 is 9, which is too big. It doesn't fit. So we know that it goes in 2 times. Our next step is multiply. And you might want to put that little multiplication sign there. 2 times 3, and we write the 6 right here. Then our next step is we're going to subtract. So we're going to take 7 minus 6 is 1. Then we're going to bring down. We're going to bring down this next digit, which in this case is the 8, and we're going to do it again, which means we're going to go back up to divide. And now, remember, we don't look up here anymore. Now we're looking here, and we ask ourselves, how many times does 3 go into 18? How many times does 3 go into 18? Good. It goes in exactly 6 times. And again, if you're not sure, start with 1. 3 times 1, 3 times 2, and keep working your way up until you get to 18. And in this case, it goes in exactly 6 times. So our next step is to multiply. So 6 times 3 is 18. And our next step is to subtract. So we're going to subtract. 18 minus 18 is 0. Then we're going to bring down the 3. And we're going to do it again. 3 into 3. How many times does 3 go into 3? Well, that's an easy one. It goes in 1 time. And then we'll multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Next step is to subtract. And 3 minus 3 is 0. Now our next step would be to bring down. And there's nothing left to bring down. So if there's nothing left to bring down, you're done. So that's your answer. 261 would be your answer. Okay? Let me go ahead and change colors here and see if that makes it a little easier to see. We're going to go ahead and use red now. So let's look at this one here. Again, it's a little bigger problem, but it doesn't mean that. That's okay, because it's the same steps. So we're going to say our first step is to divide. How many times does 7 go into 7? 1 time. All right? Then we're going to multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. Next step is to subtract. So we're going to subtract, which would give 7 minus 7 is 0. Next step is to bring down. So we're going to bring down the 5. And we're going to do it again. How many times does 7 go into 5? It doesn't, does it? 7's too big. It does not fit into 5. Now this is the thing. If 7 does not go into 5, you have to put a 0, because 7 goes into 5 0 times. And then we'll multiply. 0 times 7, is 0. I almost wrote 7. Then we're going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. After subtracting, we're going to bring down the 5. And we're going to do it again. How many times does 7 go into 55? Remember, start at 1 and work your way up if you're not sure. But we'll know that it goes in 7 times. And then if we multiply, 7 times 7 is 49. And then we're going to subtract. And this will give us, well, we're going to have to borrow. That'll make it a 4. 15 minus 9 is 6. And 4 minus 4 is 0. So there's my 6. My next step is to bring down. I got one more step to bring down. So we're going to bring down the 3. And 7 goes into 63. How many times? Well, perfect. 7 times 9 is 63. And then 9 times 7 is 63. So it came out perfectly. Okay? Now this one here, notice on our first two problems we did not get a remainder. On this one here, we're going to get a remainder. I'm going to show you how to do that. Well, first of all, let's start and say, okay, 4 goes into 6 how many times? Because we're going to divide. Our first step is divide. 4 goes into 6 one time. Next step is to multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. Next step is to subtract. So we're going to subtract 6 minus 4, which is 2. Then we're going to bring down the 2, and we're going to do it again. Notice, the steps have never changed. The numbers have changed. We can have a bigger problem, smaller problem, but the steps always remain the same. So we're going to do it again. How many times does 4 go into 22? 4 times 1, 4, that fits. 4 times 2, 8, that fits. 4 times 3, 12, that fits. And if you keep going up, we'll know that it goes in 5 times. Because 5 times 4 is 20. 20 is less than 22. 6 times 4 is 22. Excuse me, 6 times 4 is 24, which is too big. It doesn't fit into 22. So we know it's 5 times. Then we're going to multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. Next step is to what? Good. We're going to subtract. 22 minus 20 is 2. Our next step is to bring down. So we're going to bring down that 2, and we're going to do it again. 4 goes into 22. Well, we kind of just did this one. We know it goes in 5 times. And if we multiply, which is our next step, 5 times 4 is 20, which would give you 2 if you subtract. Now, we don't have anything left to bring down, so this would be done. This is our remainder. Now, there are two ways to do this. We could write remainder 2. Now, in 3rd and 4th grade, when you did your long division, you were taught if you have something left over, you put the remainder up here. Remainder 2. There's also another way to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that now. We're going to get rid of the remainder, and we're going to say, okay, if I get a remainder, watch what I can do. 622 is the same if I put a decimal 0, 0.0. Think of it as money. $622 is the same thing as $622.00 if I put another 0 on there. You are always allowed to add a 0.0 onto anything because it does not change the value of the number. Okay? So watch what I'm going to do. We subtracted and got to 2. The next step would be bring down. Well, I just added a 0.0. Now first of all, what I need to do, when I add a 0.0, I'm going to want to take that decimal point and move it straight up and put it in the answer. Whenever you add a 0.0, you got to move that decimal straight up and put it in the answer. So I just added a 0. So now, after I subtracted, I could bring this 0 down, put it here, and I could do it again. 4 goes into 20 exactly 5 times. And then if I multiplied through, I would see that 20 minus 20 is 0, and now I don't have a remainder. And if I did get another number, you know what I could do? I could add another 0, bring it down, and do it again. And just keep going. Sometimes it will keep going forever. Sometimes, like this example, you just have to add 1 0 and it'll come out evenly. And at other times you might get a repeating decimal where you're going to see a pattern and you're going to keep adding zeros and you're going to keep getting the same number. But that's another way. And as you get older, you are going to stop putting remainders and you're going to start putting the 0.0. Because if you think about it, in real life, we don't use remainders. We don't use remainders in real life. We only do decimals. All right, this last example here. 954 divided by 12. Now, this is a different one because the divisor, which is this outside number, is 2 digits. Now, here's what we do here. Steps stay the same. The steps stay the same. So we're going to say, okay, how many times does 12 go into 9? It doesn't, does it? 12 is too big to fit into 9. So I could put a 0 and multiply it through and then subtract, or I could say, okay, if 12 doesn't go into 9, how many times does 12 go into 95? Now, the only thing that's different when you have a divisor, the outside number that's 2 digits, is you can't do the multiplication and the division in your head anymore. So what you'll do is you're going to want to go over to the side and start taking a guess. How many times? I'll try a 5. 12 times 5, let's see. That's 10, carry 1, 5 plus 1 is 6, so 60. Does 60 fit into 95? Yep. Well, let's try a bigger one. 12 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1, 7. 72. Does 72 fit into 95? Yep, so let's keep going. 12 times 7. Let's see here. 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1. That would be 8. 84. Does that fit? Yeah, it does. So let's try one more. Let's see if 8 works. I'm not sure. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. 96. Oh, barely too big. So 96 doesn't fit. So 7 times fit, but 8 times does not fit. So 12 goes into 95 7 times. And we're going to write the 7, notice where I'm writing it, over the 5. Because the 12 doesn't go into 9, it goes into the 95. And then our next step is multiply. Now the thing that I like about these kinds of problems is I already did the multiplication over here. So I know that 12 times 7, if I look right over here, is 84. So I'm going to put 84. We're going to subtract, because that's my next step. And then I'm going to get 5 minus 4 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. 11. My next step is to bring down the 4. And do it again. 12 into 114. How many times will 12 go into 114? Well, again, I like it because here's my little multiplication chart. Well, let's see. When I went up to 8, it was 96. Does that fit? 96 fits. So let's try 9 and see if 9 fits. 12. Okay, 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. 108. Ooh, it fits. Perfect. So we're going to say 9 times. And then if I multiply, I know that the answer is 108. And then 14 minus 8 is 6. So there's my remainder. And if I wanted to, I could put a decimal 0. Or, in this case, we're just going to go ahead and put, it's not remainder 2, it's remainder 6. All right, so that's how you do long division. Remember, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and do it again. Dad, mom, sister, brother, dog. That's the way that you can remember it.